when I made this video and called it making a sandwich out of Max Wainwright, I wasn't being literal, I was just trying to grab attention. Max Wainwright is the designer of this little noise synthesizer, which I happened to come across when I was in my local electronics shop, and I noticed they were selling this little kit which cost next to nothing. I think it was less than 30 euros, and you can see the contents of the kit laid out here on the table. And so I got the kit and I put it together, and it was not too difficult, but it's a little bit odd in the sense that this is not a traditional PC board. It's printed circuit board. It's a kind of cross between a hold board and a strip board. Well, it's a kind of strip board with the lines cut on the back. So you have to be really careful following the instructions to put the components in the right places, which are not at all obvious. There are not a lot of components. You can see them here: 4 caps, 3 resistors, a bunch of headers, a chip, a couple of pots, a switch, a couple of push button switch, an on-off switch, and a battery connector. And I put it together and started to play with it. It's called the PCBSNR, or the DIY PCBSNR. The PCB is from printed circuit board, which it really isn't, and SNR is from something like simple, I don't know what it was called, something not radical, or oh no, something and radical, I don't know, something, a strange name. But the radical part of the name comes from this radical chip, which is the noise chip that's used in it, which has been designed by Max Wainwright with John Richards of dirtyelectronics.org. And it's a different kind of noise chip in the sense that it's based upon wave table technology. So it's different algorithms for looking up a wave table. There are 64 different algorithms in the chip, and when you press this push button, I do believe that it chooses one of those algorithms randomly. Another way that it could have been done was if it was programmed to increment through the noise algorithms, but I don't think that's the way it's done. There is a different version of this chip. It's for a Eurorack type of module, and then that has some kind of control where you can scroll through the algorithms, but unfortunate to say, you don't know which algorithm you're in really. You just accept by possibly hearing the difference. Anyway, you get an algorithm, and then you have 2 controls. Sometimes the right hand control doesn't really do so much, but the left hand control always does something more radical on the radical chip. So I built it, and when I built it, it had this battery connector kind of hanging off it like that, and I wasn't really super satisfied with that solution, because if you take it on a gig or somewhere, that could just fall off and it's kind of gets in the way. So I thought what I'll do is I shall take the PC board and I'll try and put a kind of battery box kind of thing like this on the back of the printed circuit board. But then I realized that by the time I'd done that, I might as well just stick a little amplifier on the back of it as well. I looked at the possibilities for doing that on the very few spaces that are left available on the board, but I came to the conclusion it was just better to make a sandwich with a little bit of strip board on the back, attach the battery to it, and get the battery included, and then I could put a little amplifier on with a little speaker, which makes it performable and portable as a device. So that was the sandwich idea. I'm just about to make another one of these, and with a similar sandwich. So you see that the other side of the sandwich is a little amplifier with just a few components, 386 chip for the amp, just 1, 2, 3 caps, a pot, and a resistor. That's all it seems you'd really need. At least I got away with that. And then you get them all on the back. This is very slightly different layout on the first version. Anyway, this is now a portable device, and I can control the volume with it to somewhat extent. With the pot now that's on the back, and I've got these two controls. Choose an algorithm. Clock through the algorithms. The results are very, very random, and it's obviously because you're choosing an algorithm at random, then it's very difficult to go back to where you were previously. But you have to live with it. This totally amazes me what a great sound you can get out of this tiny little. This is a Visaton 19K23 PC little beeper kind of speaker, piezo speaker, and to be honest with you, it makes as good a noise in this tiny little format as many speakers that are several times its size. Obviously there's not a lot of bass there to go on. It's the device itself still has the plug to the socket to take out a lead to your synth and process the noises that come out of it if you want to. And then the output of this has a little option. You can either have DC connected output like that, which bypasses this output cap, or if you have this off, this connector, you can then have AC coupled output, just whatever is more appropriate for your output here. Doesn't actually make any difference to the functioning of my add-on here. So, and then there's another jumper here that you can determine whether you have a mono output of this plug here, or whether you get the mono output split into two channels of a stereo output. I really haven't tried how that works really, but you just can use this jumper for that purpose. It's also got a couple of patches here designed for attaching wires with little connectors like this, and those can be used for voltage control of these two parameters. Again, this is something I haven't tried yet, but in the Eurorack version, that's two of the three parameters that you you can use for controlling this, and in real time with some control voltage at probably 0 to 5 volts, I suspect. Anyway, you can check out the Eurorack version of that on dirtyelectronics.org page, rather than Max Wainwright's page himself. So I've turned this thing, which is not a very performable instrument, into something a little bit more performable by making it portable and having a loudspeaker. Now I can stick it inside objects. I like sticking little synths like this inside glass jars and buckets and things like that. You've got to watch it if you're going to stick it inside something that's metal, because obviously there's a lot of electrical connections around here, and you don't want any of those things touching any metal surrounding metal. I'll just show you a little bit more of that in the second part of this video. Okay, in the second half of this video I was thinking of looking through some possibilities for what I might do with this simple and radical synthesizer by Max Wainwright. So I've now got this sandwich of it, and you can choose various algorithms, get different kinds of noise out of it. And one thing I like to do with little noise synthesizers is stick them inside things. Like, for example, I have this sweet jar, kind of storage jar, and you can change the sound of things by bringing the jar over the top of it. Almost silence, is it? It filters the sound. Also, you can put it inside the jar, and then you can use the jar for directional effects. And because it's a glass jar, it's not going to cause any short circuits in the synth. You can use jars of different sizes. Here's another size. Let's tune it to something else now. Turn it up to max volume. Okay, that's a completely different sound. Let's see what kind of sound that makes. Aha, interesting. Oh yeah, that's a real kind of bandpass filter kind of effect on it. Again, put this inside. Maybe turn the speaker around so that it's facing the outlet, and you can point it in different directions. Use some directional stuff like that. And then there's the possibility of placing it on top of various objects. Obviously, this is not going to produce a massive resonance on top of this kind of jar, but we might get something more if we put it on top of, I don't know, the jar top maybe. Well, that amplifies it a little bit. Or alternatively, on top of a little bucket. Actually, this doesn't really make a lot of sound, but the buckets are good also for the directionality. Have to be careful again not to get any short circuit. Okay, if we've got this inside here somewhere, you can use maybe the top. Oh, a nice kind of phasing kind of effect. comes from using the top like a mute. So there's another top for a mute. Okay, but you can do various things like that with noisy synthesizers. But then I was thinking that this might make a good sample and hold source for the synthesizer, especially when it's used in this mode where it's got the jumper on, which gives you DC output. So basically I'm going to stick this noisy synth into, I turn the sound down a little bit. It doesn't affect, turning the sound down doesn't affect the output from this plug here, this socket. So what would happen if we had a sample and hold? What kind of noise makes those kind of let's take a new different algorithm. See what it sounds like. So obviously you're going to get lots of different patterns out of this compared with what you would get out of a white noise or other type of sample and hold source. And then of course that can be combined with taking the noise itself and the noise is going in this blue plug here, so I can put it into a input of a filter and listen to maybe the band pass of the filter. Because you can still use the sample and hold to modulate the filter. Algorithm. Okay, so there's lots of nice things you can do with this. I'm looking forward to making more use of it in the future. Bye for now.